Hey everyone, my name is Cree and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm coming with some advice for high school sophomores. So kind of like the advice for high school freshmen, this is gonna be based on sophomores that are looking to go to a four-year college in the future. So here's the advice I have for you today, and let's get right into the video. So a lot of the advice that I have is going to be similar to the advice for high school freshmen, because sophomores, honestly, y'all are kind of like the middleman. Like, you're not really upperclassmen yet, but you're not a freshman either. So it's going to be like, it's going to be freshman advice stepped up a notch. So it's a little more advanced. But anywho, so sophomores, my first word of advice for you today is going to be to get involved in sports, clubs, and volunteering. So I mentioned this to freshmen as well, but it's really important. If you don't know what you want to major in college, then start joining some clubs of some of your interests. Even if your interest is like esports and video gaming or the arts or something like that, just join a club where you can get involved and see if it's something that you like as a hobby or something that you would actually want to do as a career. So this is important because in the future you're gonna have to choose a major if you go to a four-year college or university. So just make sure that you are considering some of the possible majors and possible options so you can start to get to know your own interests and figure out what you want to do in the future. So the reason why it's important to do clubs, organizations, and sports and things of that nature is not only does it help to build your resume, you can put like, team bonding skills, teamwork skills, things of that nature, but you can also start to learn what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. This is going to be really important when it comes to picking a major. If you don't know or you don't really have an idea of what you want to major in quite yet, that's fine, that's okay, because you can go into college with an undecided major, but it still would be better if you have an idea of what you want to major in prior to going to college, because then you can choose a school that has good programs based on these fields. So my next piece of advice is to continue to build your college list. So if you haven't started that already, start that now. And so for freshmen, I told them to just do something light, look at different colleges and universities that you have a possible interest in. Even if you have no idea, just start looking at the stats and the grades that they require and that most students have to get into the college. So that'll help you to know what scores you need. But for sophomores, I'm gonna say, we'll do that for sure, but kick it up a notch. So start really looking at majors and organizations. So I mentioned that there's usually two types of students. There's a student A, who's going to know exactly where they want to go and they're going to have their heart set on a school from day one. And then there's student B who has no idea where they want to go and they have to figure that out, and that can be challenging. So the thing is, for the students who know exactly where they want to go and what they want to major in, that's great. Just make sure you have an idea of what schools have the perfect program for your major. So say you have like a school in mind and it's like, everyone I know went to this school and graduated from this school, so I want to go to this school. But say you want to major in the arts and that school is more STEM focused. They have more focus on the sciences rather than the arts. So I'll say that there's nothing wrong with going to that school in general, but there may be less opportunities available to you because that school isn't focused on the area that you're interested in. So not to say that they won't have a good program, but maybe they won't have internships or job offers or connections like a school that is primarily focused on the arts or something. So that's why I say it's good to look into these things just before you go. And so if that school has everything you need, perfect. But if it doesn't, then you can start looking at other options too, because the example I'm using is the arts and then like STEM field. So if you go to a school that's primarily focusing on the arts and it's like, theater, dance, and it's like, okay, that's great, but I want to major in science, then it's kind of like, maybe that's not the best school for me to go to because that's not what people who go to this school are going for. So I might go to a different school or research some other schools that are primarily focused on STEM fields and STEM majors, because they might have more technology and more opportunities available to STEM students. So that's why it's important to look into the different schools and what programs that they have. Again, it's not like one school is going to have a bad program just because they're not focused on it, but the program might not be as good since they're giving priority to other majors. So just make sure you start to look at what type of major you're going to want to do and study in college, because that's going to help you to choose a school, especially if you don't have an idea yet. So start looking into that so you can start deciding and looking into different institutions that may actually help you to grow and to find a job when the time comes. Okay, and so my next piece of advice is to take more advanced classes, whether that be pre-AP, AP, IB, or just advanced classes in general, honors, dual credit. Try and start taking some of those classes immediately. That's gonna help in college, because then you kind of get some of the like filler classes, I say, so to speak. A lot of colleges now are liberal arts colleges, meaning that essentially, I don't want to say they're like high school, but it's kind of like high school in the sense of you take a math credit, science credit, social studies, all of those things first, and then only in like the last 2 years do you really start studying your major. So you have to start taking some of those AP credits. So if you are kind of someone who knows what they want to major in, or you think you're going to figure that out, it's going to help you, because you kind of get some of that, like those extra, I say extra, they're important, but you get some of those other classes out of the way that aren't going to be focused on your major. So as a sophomore, if you're going to take like AP or pre-AP English, then not only are you going to get 5 to 10 extra points at the end of the year, depending on what you're taking, but you'll also get the credit out of the way. So if you take the AP exam, then you'll be able to, most colleges will accept the AP as a college credit, and they'll be like, okay, well, you took English 1 dual credit, or you took English 1 in high school and passed the AP exam, so we're gonna give you credit for that. So you no longer have to take this class, you can move on to English 2. So it's kind of like you're gonna get that out of the way, so it's gonna help you in the long run. So I would recommend taking some of those more advanced classes. It also just shows colleges that you are focused and driven and willing to push yourself and endure some challenges, because those classes can be difficult at times. But again, just as I said to freshmen, I'm gonna say it to y'all and everyone else, don't overwhelm yourself. Don't take more than you can handle. Don't bite off more than you can chew. If it's too much for you, don't overload yourself, but push yourself, but not to a breaking point. You know, you're like a rubber band. You want to push yourself as far as you can without actually breaking and popping. You know, you don't want to do that. So just make sure you keep that in mind. So the next few things I want to talk about is, I know I already talked about like building your college list, but this kind of ties into that. Once you have a solid idea of some of the colleges that you may be interested in, even if it's like, well, I'm not 100% sure I want to go here, but you just have an idea that, and you're interested in that school, start seeing what type of scores, like SAT and ACT scores, you need to get in, and start studying for the SAT and ACT. I'm telling you, if you do consistent studying, and I'm not saying every day after school you have to practice for 5 hours. No, I'm just saying maybe every week, like every weekend, pick a day and just say, okay, I'm gonna spend an hour or 2 studying for my SAT. Set a goal score. So if you're like, okay, this school says that I need an 1150 to get in, then just set a goal score and put it a little higher than what you're used to. Put it like, okay, well, I want to get a 1250. And so some schools provide like the PSAT, or like, I don't know if there's a PACT, but they'll provide like practice tests. And so take those practice tests. Khan Academy has free SAT practice, and it will incorporate your scores, your weak points, and everything like that, so you can start to work on that. Make sure you do this. Again, I'm not saying it has to be like hardcore consistency every day, but just make sure it's consistent enough where you start to see some improvement. So by the time you actually take the SAT or the ACT, your score is going to be higher, or at the very least on par with the goal score you set, and hopefully above the school score that most students get to get in. Okay, so this is gonna be like a big one, but also optional. So if you're a sophomore right now, I'm telling you, college and college applications are gonna roll up before you know it. I'd recommend to start saving for college applications now, especially if you're someone who has financial issues or knows that it's going to be difficult to pay for college or college applications. And let me tell you, college applications can be expensive. So a lot of applications, well, I'll say the highest one that I had to pay was about $75, but the highest one that I saw was, I think, $80. So they can range anywhere from free. Sometimes they'll be free depending on which like platform you go through, or depending on what time it is of the year. If you're like a priority student and they really want you, they may be like, hey, fill out this free application. Or if it's like COVID times, a lot of people drop their student fees, but they might not do that in a few years, so don't rely on that. Start saving for college applications. If you put like $5 a week away every week, whether you have an allowance or a job or something where you can be like, okay, I'm gonna save and put this away so that I can afford college applications. So it's like, if you have extra money, you can decide if you want to save it, put it away for something else, or if you want to use it on other colleges that you didn't think you were going to be able to afford to even apply for the application. So this is important. They do have application fee waivers. So make sure, if you know that you would apply for a fee waiver, then apply for it and you should be able to receive it. So it's like, make sure that you're doing whatever you can to get these colleges, to get into these colleges. Do not let finance, if possible, because I know not everyone has the same situation, but if possible, don't let not applying to a college because you couldn't afford it be the reason that you don't get in, because just try if you can. And I know that's easier said than done, especially for people who have financial problems. Then it can be hard to just say, well, just don't let that get in the way. Like, I can't afford it. Don't you get it? So it's like, I'm not trying to like push people over their limit, you know, but just make sure that you do whatever you can. There is a lot of financial help out there for students. And so even as sophomores, you can start even applying for scholarships for college, and they'll like put it away or save it for you. So you can look into things like that. But sometimes there will be like organizations, or really not even organizations, like the Common App has an application fee waiver. So things like that to help you not save, but just be ready to pay for the fees that come with college applications. And they may waive the fee or give you a reduced amount to pay to apply. So that's why I say start saving now. So if you know that's going to be an issue, or even if you don't know, but you just know that your parents are going to make you pay for it yourself or something, whatever the case is, then hey, get a job or do whatever you possibly can, and make sure that you can get like $5 or so put away every week or every 2 weeks. And over a few years, that's gonna add up, okay? That is gonna add up. When you have more money, like I had a seasonal job, so I was only working like 3 times a year, and that was like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. So I was only working those 3 times. So when I had like that paycheck coming in, then it would be more money put away to save. And so sometimes that is going to take some sacrifice. Like you might not be able to get, I don't know, a gift or something that you wanted to buy for yourself. You'll have to put that on the back burner. But if it means in the long run that it's going to help towards your future, then I would highly recommend it. Alright, so thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful to you. So again, I have a Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/MsCree. So I'm gonna teach about all types of different important information. I already have some stuff up there about how to avoid scholarship scams, how to request a letter of recommendation, how to build a resume, things like that. So go ahead, check it out, take a look. It's gonna be really helpful for you. I'm also gonna post how I ended up getting a full ride scholarship and how you can too, because at this stage, it is early enough where it is very, very possible. So make sure you go and check those things out, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.